Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another game theory video. Remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want to appreciate things. Kind of just responding to stupid shit. So I had to go back and look because I know I've already answered this, but I still see some haters saying that like, oh, Clayton predicting Street Fighter 6 doesn't count because we all knew it was going to turn out that way too. Even though if they knew it was going to turn out that way, why didn't they say it, and why did they say I was going to be wrong about the game? But people are like, oh, of course, what game isn't meter versus your meter or something like that, and what game isn't the system versus this system, blah blah blah. And like, again, I look back to say like, dude, I've made this video. Like, you guys have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. This idea that every fighting game ever is your meter versus my meter, blah blah blah. Clayton is wrong. Well, actually, that's not true. Not every fighting game is your meter versus my meter because, first of all, not all fighting games even have a super meter in the first place. And even if we go to then, which automatically disproves what you're saying, then if we go back to look at the very first Street Fighter game with meter, well, guess what? There's old characters with no meter that are also good. Boy, this argument that Clayton is wrong, and then well, we already knew this was going to happen because every game turns out that way. Every game is that way. Well, boy, that's not true at all. Look at a game like Marvel 3. Are there not whole teams that are dedicated to, let's say, getting meter for a character? Let's say, like Phoenix. Some characters meter is more important if we're talking about it like that. You know, game like Street Fighter Alpha. Again, I use this almost, it's almost as a joke just because I know it pisses people off because they can't properly argue it. Look at all these characters. We have some characters that, like, say Charlie Ken. Some people play them in auto mode because meter is not as important. There is not that tug of war between meter. Some characters meter is more important than others. And of course, we also have a more versatile usages of meter. Unlike terribly designed games like Alpha 2, like we just made that video about win conditions where, wow, everyone has the same win condition. Everyone has the custom combo. My meter rate, wow, great, amazing, Capcom versus SNK. Look at this game. Every game is my meter versus your meter. Well, we can look at this. There's drastically different supers in this game. Some characters' supers are way better than others. Some characters you would want to save the super for them rather than use it as a trade. You have the whole fucking team dynamic of the game. Look at this Capcom versus all. It's often these badly designed games, as a matter of fact. But let's go back to Street Fighter 6 though, right? Because if you recall, and I even made an FGC on NBC video about it. I'm like, Street Fighter 6, I like the idea. I joked that it was a non-binary, you can go top or bottom transgender system. Because I was like, you know what? Supers are not useful enough. Like, supers in games where there's EX moves and all this other kind of stuff, where there's all these more versatile usages of meter. You know what I mean? Too often, supers don't feel special enough. And again, go back and look on the videos and how many times did I say it for Street Fighter 6? I'm like, you know what? On one hand, I'm glad that supers are their own meter right here, and we have the versatile usages of meter at the top. So we're going to get to see all of them. But what I was afraid of, and I said, and unfortunately it turned out to be true, I was like, I just hope that supers don't end up generally being combo fodder. And guess what? Was I not right? Guess what? The super meter is generally your combo fodder. Terrible. It was so disappointing. And then when I talk about my meter versus your meter, and I even compared it to a fucking, card game, and it's also like a tug of war, boom, it's my meter versus your meter. We've already proven that not every game is my meter versus your meter. Every game. When I hear people try to argue me about video games, I've said before, it's scary. Sometimes I actually think in my life that sometimes I even think now, and again, haters won't even like understand this. Do you know that I have not even like say a game for like, God, well, I haven't played a friend in real life in any fucking video game in I think over a year in real life. Do you realize that's how little I fucking play video games? That one guy, when I made that video, like our first time playing Guilty Gear in a year, that was true. And I have not played that guy in Guilty Gear in over a year again. I don't play a lot of video games, believe it or not. And there's always that fear that, oh my God, dude, what if I ain't like, dude, am I actually good at video games? Like, Jesus Christ, dude. It's like, it's actually scary. It's like, it's almost not even a compliment. Sometimes it's like a very sort of like, ooh, existential crisis that maybe I should have taken video games more seriously. You know what I mean? Especially when you see, even without me playing, I can look at a game and being able to tell how it's going to work also is scary. But, again, what were people saying about Street Fighter 6? They're like, oh, drive impact isn't going to matter. People are going to be able to throw it all the time. People are going to jump away from it. No one's ever going to get hit by like a dizzy thing by drive impact. And I was like, dude, what the fuck footage are you watching? And I'm like, people are not going to be jumping away from fucking drive impact all the time. People are not going to be throwing it all the time. And I'm like, the most realistic way to beat drive impact is to also use your meter. Right? There we go. Boom. Someone drives impact. Well, what is the most realistic way to beat drive impact? Assuming you are reacting to it. Well, guess what? I use some of my meter. Is it not? Or maybe I used an EX move. Who knows the fuck? I guess you'd rather just use, 1 bar versus 1 bar. That is the tug-of-war of the game, right? If this is all blanked out and I drive impact, like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? I guess I got to use this meter. It's constantly a tug-of-war between meters in the game, right? Just like, again, I guess assuming you don't parry to drive rush, the parry whiff drive rush slimer thingy jiggy, right? Am I saying it right? Jeez, I've called it slimer so much. Drive impact, drive rush, right? I just call it slimer. I get the names confused sometimes. We have this like, let's say, oh, I'm gonna waste 3. Like, oh, I waste 3 of my cards here, but oh, what if he wasted 3 of his cards here? Well, then I got 1 drive impact here, but maybe he won't waste a drive impact here because he wants to be able to have more meter here for this, blah blah blah. It's that constant like tug of war, like that wagering my meter versus your meter. And I was like, it's interesting in a certain kind of way, but you could tell the game was going to turn out that way, especially with Slimer and Drive Rush, because we have stupid shit like this. And I made stuff like this, right? And I was like, and this wasn't me, I saw people making these memes and I'm like, is it not funny that there's actually memes about how characters have all these moves that hit you ducking? And I've talked about, why do jabs all hit you ducking? That's retarded. It doesn't even look like they hit you, dude. And I'm like, why does a character like Ken Stand Fierce hit you ducking and it's cancelable? Doesn't that kind of make Ken Stand Roundhouse not as, distinctive? That used to be the normal that separated from him from Ryu. That he had a poking attack that could hit you ducking. And now you make every character have moves that all your moves hit you ducking, so to speak, generally speaking in the game, generally, right? And the Stand Fierce is cancelable. Well, of course, when you have a game that is so homogenized where every character has this move is supposed to do this move is supposed to do this move is supposed to do this move is always going to be minus this, you know what I mean? Well, of course, you're going to be, well, I guess I'm going to waste my bar on this. Or if you did the parry thing, you know what I mean? Oh, what, the whiff parry to driver, Slimer, whatever the fuck it is. Of course, you're going to be constantly using this meter back and forth because because every character, is so homogenized and they all use the meter in the fucking same way. The game is so fucking meter dependent. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? No one's ever going to be hit by a fucking unit. No one's ever going to get dizzy in a real match. What the fuck are you talking about? No one's ever going to get hit by drive impact in real match because you don't even have to use meter. Everyone will be jumping away from like, what the fuck game were you guys watching? The whole game was designed so this one would be minus here, that you have to use meter to put yourself at plus. Everyone has their normal, that is their quotation marks, let's say, better normals to waste your meter to drive rush in, the Slimer in. We got to use the green, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? The writing, like, that's why I say the game is a constant tug of war. It's weird to me because it's creepy. And sometimes when you say something, it's like you're telling yourself too, you're reinforcing this idea. And again, I always think that, again, I only started, posting more on YouTube because I used to just post about it on forums and everything like that. Like, again, I posted how all the Guilty Gear games are going to work back in the day. Remember like XR when I'd already stopped in tournaments. I'm like, this is how XR is going to work. Do you remember what happened? Ended up being the B&Bs in the game? Ended up being what I talked about. Everybody like, oh no, Japanese would have done this if this is how the game works. Guess what? I put out all my B&Bs for the game. Guess what? That's how XR turned out, the meta of the game. Just like fucking AC and all this kind of stuff. Just like when I said how look at Marvel. Look at fucking people who are still trying to fucking recreate what I've done in Marvel years and years later. Look at Street Fighter 5. I said how fucking Street Fighter 5 was going to turn out. Fucking Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Eventually Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I came back and was like, I'm just going to prove that I'm the best at this, right? But then, as Dragon Ball Z was going on, I was like, oh my God, I am the best at being able to look at a game and put out all this tech. And throughout the years, and then I did Strive just as an afterthought. Street Fighter 6, like I said, I got to this game late, and I'm like, why the fuck is no one doing any of this in the betas? You know what I mean? Why is no one trying whiff parry to Slimer Drive Rush? And I'm like, you're telling me that people like Maximilian, Justin, all these other guys are getting brought in to play the game, and they're playing the game so much that they got bored of it, that they started posting computer versus computer matches. And I'm like, why the fuck aren't you testing all the juggle abilities with fucking Slimer stuff? I want to see just how fast whiff parry is, to see if you get better punishes or combos, to see if you can save more meter. And guess what? Then after I posted all that stuff, even though they were already playing all these betas, there's for so many hours that people just got bored and posting computer versus computer matches. Guess what? After I posted my videos, oh fuck yeah, I guess we could have tried that. Let's try what Clayton does. Oh god, the game is exactly like Clayton said. You know what I mean? That kind of shit, on one hand, it's like a pat on the back, and I'm like, I know I'm smart, but on the other hand, it's like, I know I'm smart, and it's like, it's fucking creepy, because it's like, oh my god, maybe I should have taken video games seriously, because it's like frightening, I guess, how stupid people are. It's scary. Like, and even this game, like, this game is going to be a complete tug-of-war of meter. They've homogenized the characters too much. Every move is too set in stone what it's supposed to do. So you can tell that's like, oh man, they're fucking meter dependent, and everyone's going to be using the meter in the fucking same way. And I fucking hate EX moves, but at least I was like, you know what, please, I was like, please, for the love of God, I hate EX moves and all this kind of stuff, but you know what? At least we got the super is its own bar, so please, I hope supers are versatile and have their own usages, and I hope they're not just combo fodder. And that was one of my biggest fears for the game, and guess what? That turned out to be true. That supers are generally used just as combo fodder, and they're not fucking special. But yeah, that idea that, oh, Clayton predicted that, yeah, which of course again is stupid, because they said I was going to be wrong about it at first. But oh, Clayton predicted there's going to be a tug of war between meter, but we all knew that because every game is meter versus your meter. Well, guess what? We've already shown that's not fucking even remotely true. Not every game is like that whatsoever. But anyway, Street Fighter 6, man, disappointing, dude. Disappointing, dude. Oh, fuck me, dude. Can't duck moves in the game. God, the game is fuck me, dude.
Bob, are you gonna drop BP again? It's kind of lonely. I think you should drop BP.
All right, okay, I'll drop BP.
Sure. Drop a big one, Bob. Okay, but Bob, stop, wait. Stop drawing black PPs, that's racist. Yellow PPs are big too.
That sounds kind of racist, Pikachu.
Fuck you, Bob. Oh my god, Bob, look at the mushroom tip on that one. Oh, sweet Jesus. That's a beautiful PP.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, remember if you like the videos of the pleasantly peaceful Pikachus, pleasantly peaceful. They're all very happy looking over here. If you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support channel if you want to. Appreciate it. Thanks. The end.